Tonight, Ottawa's new plan for affordable housing. Mark Carney touting a streamlined strategy for construction.
The core challenge at present in the housing market is it's just too hard to build.
Will it make a difference? And what's the role of a new housing agency? Plus, why a family in Ontario is facing deportation after years in this country.
It does hurt to feel like, it kind of gives me a sense of like feeling like unwanted.
And honoring one of Canada's most respected news personalities.
Persevere, live your passion, and have the patience to make it through.
A trusted voice to Canadians, remembering the legacy of Beverly Thomson.
CTV National News with Heather Butts.
Good evening. Canadians struggling to afford a home are the focal point of a major announcement from the federal government. $13 billion for a new agency to oversee plans to build homes in 6 cities across the country. CTV's Jeremy Sharon takes a look at when construction could start.
It's another campaign promise, this one delivered just a day ahead of the return of Parliament.
The core challenge at present in the housing market is it's just too hard to build. Honey, I'm home.
Build Canada Homes is Ottawa's proposed solution, a plan to build affordable homes faster. The new government agency launching today with an initial $13 billion capital investment to provide incentives for home builders, starting with 6 cities where 4,000 factory-built homes will be developed on federal land in Ottawa, Toronto, Dartmouth, Longueuil, Winnipeg, and Edmonton.
When it comes to building more affordable housing, we are all in as Team Canada.
Carney says the new agency will look to open up access to more public land for housing and aims to speed up permitting processes.
This, along with a series of other new measures, will help double the pace of housing construction in this country over the next decade.
But Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre isn't buying it.
We have the builders, we have the trades, we have the companies, they have the money. They'd love to get building. What's standing in the way is bureaucracy.
This announcement comes at a time when housing starts have been flat in the first half of this year compared to 2024. According to data from the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, gains in cities like here in Ottawa have been offset by steep declines in major hubs like Toronto and Vancouver.
Does these incentives that the government is trying to provide, does that make it up? Does that, make them really change their mind and start those projects that they were not thinking about, maybe not starting?
This housing policy expert says while today's announcement is encouraging, the real test will come in the government's actions moving forward.
The jury is still out on whether or not Build Homes Canada will be different from the policies and programs that we have seen for the past 10 years.
According to a senior government source, construction on the first round of projects is expected to begin next year. Jeremy Sharon, CTV News, Ottawa.
While making that housing announcement, the Prime Minister was asked to clarify what he meant when saying the deficit in the upcoming budget would be substantially higher than expected.
Substantial means that it'll be bigger than it was last year. First and foremost, it's the tariff war, the shock that's created by that, the rupture created not just in Canada but around the world, and the knock-on effect, including on the United States, where the economy has slowed as well, I would observe. So you have the impact of that.
The Carney government's first federal budget is expected to be delivered in October. On the eve of Parliament's return, Conservative politicians gathered in Ottawa, laying out their own plan for the session. CTV's Colton Prail on what's shaping up to be a busy fall.
Pierre Poilievre joked he took the scenic route back to Ottawa, but as Parliament prepares to return, the Conservative leader is wasting no time putting the Prime Minister's feet to the fire.
The tariffs are worse, crime is worse, immigration is worse. That is not what Canadians voted for.
Decrying a Liberal government he says has been more talk than action.
He promised elbows up, and where did the elbows go from there?
Poilievre promised a Conservative focus on 4 key areas this fall: the cost of living, job losses, crime rates, and immigration.
Pierre Poilievre is going to be talking about things that people are feeling and experiencing around the kitchen table. And Mark Carney is talking about national projects that are frankly very hard to relate to.
And while the Liberals warn of a possible austerity budget this fall,
now we have some choices to make so that we can get our finances in control.
Poilievre is drilling down on increasing concerns about the overall health of the Canadian economy.
Remember that? Spend less, invest more. $62 billion of net investment has left since he became prime minister.
We are seeing evidence that people's anxiety around the economy is increasing, that some of those, some of that optimism might be wearing a little bit thin, that people are expecting to see some results.
The Conservatives have promised to introduce legislation aimed at unlocking Canada's economy and tackling bail reform.
But the Liberals are eyeing those very same issues. They launched the Major Projects Office and are promising a crime bill of their own. Heather.
CTV's Colton Prale in Ottawa. The leader of Ontario's Liberal Party says she will resign as the head of the party. Bonnie Crombie, who's been the provincial Liberal leader for just under 2 years, managed to get 57% support of delegates at a party convention this weekend. And while she initially said she would stay on after the vote, Crombie later issued a statement saying she will step down once the party picks a new leader. Global Affairs Canada is confirming that 2 Canadians have been killed in Portugal. CTV News has learned 62-year-old Ghislaine Boulanger and 66-year-old Elise Bernard of Montreal, who are both deaf, were said to be taking pictures on train tracks east of Porto and did not hear a train approaching. An Ontario family that's been in Canada for years is filled with fear tonight over an impending deportation to Jamaica. They've built a life here. The eldest son dreams of joining Canada's Olympic team, but as CTV's Kamal Karmali reports, they believe leaving could put them in grave danger.
This is my first ever legit title I ever got.
This is what Tamari Lindo calls his contribution to Canada. Medal after medal in hurdling. But despite all this,
these are all of them.
He may never get to compete for our country on the biggest stage because each passing day brings him closer to deportation.
It does hurt to feel like, it kind of gives me a sense of like feeling like unwanted.
Tamari and his family came to Canada from Jamaica in 2019. Like Lindo's gonna take it home! Since then, becoming one of the country's top-ranked hurdlers at the collegiate level, his father, George Lindo, filing a refugee claim for political asylum after he says he was targeted by gangs while volunteering for Jamaica's political opposition party, even shot at and his throat slashed.
I was just praying for God.
The family was facing deportation last year, but after public pressure, Ottawa granted them a 1-year extension, which is now coming to an end.
Honestly, I don't know what I would do. I don't even know where I'd start. I'll just be completely broken.
Last year, Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada said it found that the violence that the family was facing in Jamaica could not be linked to their political activism. Saying in a statement, crime, including murder, is widespread throughout Jamaica. Any risk they face is not personalized. It's one shared generally by all persons living in Jamaica.
It's complete nonsense. We're talking about someone who is being specifically targeted because of their political work.
The awards, the accolades, and an Olympic future could all be gone, but with the removal proceedings already begun for this family, there's a lot more they could stand to lose. Tamari, what do you think is going to happen to you and your family if you go back to Jamaica?
Honestly, I think it will be death, honestly.
Now facing a race against time, this family feels winning this battle could be a matter of life and death. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Oakville, Ontario.
Some sad news to tell you about. A heartbreaking loss for the CTV family and for Canadian journalism. One of our nation's most respected news personalities, Beverly Thomson, passed away this morning following a long battle with cancer. She was 61. From politicians to pop stars, she was a passionate and versatile journalist who led with kindness and compassion. In 2024, Beverly Thomson was presented with the RTDNA Lifetime Achievement Award, recognizing individuals who have set the highest journalistic standards throughout their career and inspired countless people along the way. CTV's Adrienne Gobriel on her resilience and her legacy.
This is a little reunion here on the docks in Halifax.
For more than 3 decades, Beverly Thomson guided Canadians through historic moments across the country and the world.
Welcome to America's Choice 2016. I'm Beverly Thomson.
Raised in the Toronto area, she began her career away from the camera at a small radio station.
And I thought I'd hit the big time. It was in Newmarket, north of Toronto. And it was in a small strip mall underneath a laundromat. It was not very good, and that was great because I was terrible. And I don't think anybody was listening. That's not true. My dad.
Under cross-examination,
So from there, Thomson began to learn three pillars of what she said guided her career: perseverance, passion, and patience.
I don't mind you shaking your head. Let's go.
In the past year, there were half a dozen charges laid.
Eventually earning her first on-camera position as a local reporter with CTV News Toronto.
Hundreds of police officers are expected to attend the funeral in Niagara Falls Wednesday morning.
Until one night, she suddenly found herself on the anchor desk.
He said, our anchor didn't show up. We need you now. In those days, the newscast went to air at 6:30. It was 6:21.
Thomson never looked back.
World Beat News with Tom Gibney and Beverly Thomson.
She was at the helm of the weekend anchor desk at CFTO before moving to Global News in 1997 to anchor their flagship Toronto newscast for 7 years.
We have somebody that we'd like to introduce you to.
In 2003, Thomson returned to CTV.
This morning in Halifax, please welcome Bev Thomson
as co-host of Canada AM.
Station, this is Canada AM host Beverly Thomson. How do you hear me?
Beverly and Canada AM, I hear you loud and clear. How do you hear me?
Following a 13-year run co-hosting Canada's morning show, she took her talents to the CTV News Channel anchor desk.
I'm Beverly Thomson. Here's what's making news right now.
From News Channel, Canada AM to CTV's W5, over the decades, Thomson conducted thought-provoking interviews with some of the biggest stars on the planet.
Oh man, I can't believe this has never happened to me in an interview in my life.
This I love. Every earned line on my skin and scar on my heart, I can own them now.
Own them. You have to own them.
What does Shania Twain listen to?
Well, I listen to Celine Dion.
You've always been so honest with your fans. Whatever's been going on in your life, you've talked about.
Well, that's a decision you make. You know, it's either you're transparent or you're not.
Transparency was always front and center for Thomson, especially while sitting down with some of the world's most powerful politicians.
Well, thank you, Hillary Clinton, for having some time to share with us.
Coaxing Clinton to open up about her desire to run for president. Thomson also opened up about her own story and her brave battle with breast cancer.
You get emotional. You can't help it. Everybody is here to make the world a world without breast cancer.
She became an official spokesperson for the Breast Cancer Foundation of Canada.
An outspoken cancer survivor, Ms. Thomson.
In 2019, Thomson was awarded the Order of Canada for her outstanding contributions to this country's broadcasting industry and for her volunteer work to help raise money to find a cure for cancer. A dedicated journalist, Thomson took pride in helping and informing Canadians. At home, she was a loving mother to her 2 children, Robbie and Taylor. From charity skidoo events, skiing the Rockies, or attending Blue Jays games with her kids, Thomson cherished her time with her family.
There's one more quote that I want to bring you from an interview that I did with the 7th Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan. He said, "To live is to choose, but to choose well, you must know who you are and what you stand for, where you want to go, and why you want to get there." I think in those questions are the 3 Ps. Persevere, live your passion, and have the patience to make it through.
She lived that mantra to the fullest while exuding courage, kindness, and grace. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Tributes are pouring in tonight from former colleagues and friends. A joint statement from her 3 Canada AM co-hosts reads in part, "People would ask us all the time if Beverly Thomson was as nice off camera as she was on Canada AM. Well, she was. She was also a total pro, a committed and passionate journalist who persevered at work and in life." Celebrated fashion journalist Jeannie Becker posting online, Bev was class and sunshine personified, a true lady who lit up every room she graced. In a statement, Bell Media's VP of News, Richard Gray, saying Bev Thomson was a trusted voice to Canadians, adding, for decades, she also made a significant impact across the country with her vocal support and advocacy for cancer charities. We extend our deepest condolences to her family and loved ones. CTV National News will be right back. Stay with us. There are growing calls for better internet and cell service in rural and remote communities of Manitoba. It comes in the wake of a mass stabbing on a First Nation, and as CTV's Alex Carpa tells us, some are calling this a major safety concern.
This was the scene in Hollow Water First Nation after a mass stabbing took place last week in the community. An 18-year-old woman was killed and several others were injured. The attacker later died in a highway crash with an RCMP vehicle. Residents in Hollow Water rely on landlines and Wi-Fi calling for communication, much like other communities outside of urban centers. It appears authorities did respond quickly to the scene without issue, but some First Nations leaders say the lack of connectivity left residents vulnerable.
This is a discussion that we've been having for a long time. Most of the focus has been on urban centers, and it leaves our communities, our First Nations at risk.
Manitoba Grand Chief Garrison Settee says there will be more tragedies if nothing is done, citing safety concerns. Joel Templeman says this conversation is driven by the fact that internet and connectivity is treated as a commodity and not used for the common good.
The priority is not public safety or public access. It still comes down to it being a commercial interest, and it costs a lot of money.
Wayne Kelly says this issue isn't just Manitoba related, but countrywide. He says well over 90% of Canadians in urban spaces have access to basic gigabit internet service. That number then, he says, significantly drops to around 60% for those living on First Nations communities.
If we wouldn't accept that poor quality in 2025 in sort of Brandon or Winnipeg, why should we be asking our First Nations neighbors, our rural neighbors, to accept that quality in 2025 as well?
Those I spoke to say this summer has underscored the need for proper connectivity in the north, not just with the recent mass stabbing, but with the hot and dry weather that produced one of the worst wildfire seasons on record, impacting tens of thousands of people right across the country. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Thousands of people from across Illinois gathered in Chicago to celebrate Mexican culture in defiance of a federal crackdown on immigration. Music filled the streets of Chicago as people celebrated Mexican Independence Day. Despite increased fears over ICE activity in the Windy City, organizers say having the parade shows the community's commitment to heritage and cultural resilience. Thousands of people hit the pavement for this year's Marathon of Hope.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
The 45th annual Terry Fox Run taking place in cities right across the country. Participants happy to lace up and raise money to fight cancer, and the Terry Fox Foundation has set a big goal.
Just from the race, we hope to raise about $30 million, but our goal for the entire year this year is about $50 million. All of that goes into cancer research.
The theme this year was Finish It, inspired by Fox's Marathon of Hope, which he did not get to complete when he passed away of cancer in 1981. Still ahead tonight. Farm yields are low after a long, hot summer. What that means for your grocery bill. It's been a hot, dry summer across the Maritimes. CTV's Sarah Plowman shows us how drought conditions are having a major impact in farmers' fields and now their bottom line.
This harvest is peeling back the drought's damage.
That's not sellable.
Yeah. Corn is small or riddled with holes. The little rain that recently fell helped a lot.
A bit of water can basically provide miracles.
Still, losses add up.
We lost about 40%, and that's being conservative over the whole season.
It's been a hot, dry summer, and there's little rain in the forecast.
We're hitting really dry.
a problem across the Maritimes.
So we've had less than 30 millimeters of rain for our whole season, where we would normally get 25 a week.
Kent Coates is glad he had the foresight to build this irrigation system.
If I hadn't had that irrigation, we wouldn't have any vegetables this year. I probably couldn't sell any of my field crops.
Still, the yield is smaller.
So normally, those potatoes would have 3 times that mass.
This drought has been difficult for farmers' crops, but also costs. Margins were already thin. This expert expects it's less likely food prices will go up at large grocery stores, but more likely it'll happen at farmers' markets.
Even farmers that have irrigation were struggling, especially if they weren't set up with automation.
Coates thinks this season will be okay, but the water table is low and he worries about next year. As for this harvest, expect some crops to be smaller.
Everybody's doing their best, but ultimately Mother Nature's the final, is the big boss.
Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Bugtouche, New Brunswick.
Still ahead, move over NASCAR. Why people are revving up their lawn tractors for a fun family event on PEI. Vancouver's Seth Rogen won big on TV's biggest night at the 77th Primetime Emmy Awards.
The Emmy for lead actor in a comedy series goes to Seth Rogen, The Studio.
Rogen won 3 awards tonight for writing, directing, and lead actor, all of them for The Studio, a satire about Hollywood, which he co-created. Well, this next story could be a Hollywood hit with revving engines and spinning tires on Prince Edward Island. Some high-speed fun for a good cause. CTV's Maria Saru takes us to the track.
A green light and they're off for turn 1. Drivers kicking up red dirt, racing on lawn tractors.
It's like basically a low-dollar NASCAR. We call it grass car.
Jeff Wilson, director at the PEI Lawn Tractor Racing Club, says regular mowers might move at 7 kilometers an hour, a far cry from these speeds. These tractors are modified to hit 85 kilometers for the club's top division. The brakes and steering are enhanced too.
I love it, love it. We race with the grandkids and it's a family affair.
Starting at 6 years old, children can race as well at lower horsepower.
I saw them going around the track. I was like, that looks fun. I want to do that.
Friendships have formed around this track.
You can make new friends and you can just have fun.
These machines may have small engines, but racing them has a big impact. The PEI Lawn Tractor Racing Club has donated more than $10,000 to local charities, including the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
It helps other people, like kids that need stuff, like clothes and stuff.
Most of the donations come from ticket sales, and the stands are packed.
We had no idea where it would go, but it's amazing.
Racing grass cutters is a low-cost way to break into the hobby.
The problem with car racing today is that it's become so unaffordable for everybody, and this is just wonderful.
A way to keep family fun alive on a backyard budget, all while giving back in a big way. Maria Saru, CTV News, St. Peters Bay, Prince Edward Island.
That is our newscast. I'm Heather Butts. Thank you for watching. Sandy and Omar will be here tomorrow, and I'll see you again on Friday. Good night.